How many times do you check your watch during a run? Our watches are full of metrics like calories burned and elevation gained, current pace, average pace, power output, and we are constantly checking to make sure that our cadence is right at 180 or that our heart rate is precisely in zone 2. And when we do that, oftentimes we're overlooking the big picture about running. It's like constantly adjusting your shoelaces while ignoring a growing stress fracture. Just as a runner might focus too much on specific metrics or on running gear in order to avoid confronting a fundamental weakness in their training, in normal life, we often use anxiety as a way to duck the deeper, more challenging work of personal growth. Carl Jung is quoted by saying that neurosis is a substitute for legitimate suffering. Anxiety is a form of neurosis. We're worrying constantly about potential problems. We live in the hypothetical when we have anxiety. And what we really need to do is move to the present and address our current problems and our difficult emotions right now. Facing our current problems and our current difficult situation is uncomfortable, but it's necessary for personal growth and progress, just like hill repeats. We cannot let our worry about race day keep us from doing the work now. Anxiety essentially serves as a distraction that keeps us from doing the real work right now. The key insight is that while anxiety does feel terrible and it feels like our worry is helping somehow, it's often the easy road. It's like endlessly searching for the perfect training plan instead of just finally lacing up your shoes and hitting the pavement or the trail. The hard part is that often we aren't even aware that we are avoiding something. But Jung argues that facing this legitimate suffering, as he calls it, is key for personal growth and psychological health. Anxiety gives us the illusion of control. It keeps us in a hypothetical future, avoiding the present. Just like you can't get stronger by worrying about running fast and far, you can't get psychologically and mentally stronger and get personal growth by worrying about the hypothetical future. As always, I am not an expert. Do not substitute my advice here for true medical professional advice. But I'm a big believer that running is one massive metaphor for life. And so with running, whether you're training for a marathon or to get fit or stay fit, all that we can control is today's run. Of course, we need training plans and coaches that will help us, but when we obsess over race day or potential future injuries, all we do is get stuck in a hypothetical imaginary future instead of focusing on what truly matters, the present moment. The only mile that matters is the mile that you're in. The only time that matters, the only moment that matters is the present moment. Now, the path forward here is not about eliminating anxiety. I don't think that's realistic, and I don't think that's what Carl Jung was talking about. And nor do I think that we should take off our running watches or stop worrying about race day. I don't think that's realistic. But what I do think is potentially helpful is to ask ourselves the question, what am I trying to avoid when I'm focusing on these worries? When I hyper-focus on the potential hypothetical future? I don't know. In my experience, it seems like when I turn to face what I'm truly scared of, the constant buzz of anxiety also seems to quiet on its own. But as always, as I've already said, I'm not an expert in this, but I found this quote and this idea to be very, very helpful. And I'm, like I said, a big fan of seeing running as a big metaphor for life. So if you thought this was interesting or helpful or thought-provoking, talk to me in the comments and stick around. I'll catch you in the next video. All right, really quick, today for running gear, we just have a normal running hat that I got from Ogden Made. It's just a local company. And then I have a neck gaiter that I cut in half, and then I wrap that around my head to keep my ears warm. On top, we've got a hoodie from Janji. I think that's how you say it. Love this hoodie. It was a little too warm for today though. I've got shorts from 10,000. Really like those shorts. Running socks from Stance, and then the Nike Zagama 2s. On my hands I've got flip mitts. It's like this kind of a glove, half finger glove that turns into, has like this thing over it. See that? It like covers your hands if it gets really cold. But I kind of overdressed with gloves and hoodie today. It was definitely not as cold as I thought it was going to be. So anyways,